Isn't it wild to think that boredom might actually come from the way our brain takes in information? And for people with ADHD, it turns out this is especially important. New research is showing a strong link between sensory processing and how bored or overwhelmed someone might feel. We often think of ADHD as just attention issues or high energy, but there's a deeper layer how the brain handles sensory input. And when the brain doesn't process that input clearly, it can lead to feeling bored, overstimulated, or just checked out. This happens in adults, and it likely plays a role in how kids with ADHD feel at school, too. So let's talk about what the studies show. A recent one I find super interesting in communication psychology showed that when adults couldn't pull much meaning from what they read, they got bored. Makes sense, right? People with ADHD in that study process less information, even when reading the exact same text as others. Their brain simply didn't decode as much from the sensory input, which led to more boredom. Other studies looked directly at sensory processing in people with ADHD, and they found that individuals with ADHD often have atypical sensory processing, meaning they might be overly sensitive or not sensitive enough to things like sound, touch, movement, or smell. That sensory difference can show up as a distraction, fidgeting, withdrawal, or even emotional outbursts. So let's talk about what does this look like in real life. Think about a student in a loud cafeteria. If they're hypersensitive to sound, that noise isn't just annoying, it's overwhelming. And if they can't process the chaos around them, their brain starts to shut down. And that's when we see behaviors like zoning out, acting out, or just completely avoiding the situation. Or let's talk about a student who can't feel enough input. They may constantly move, fidget, or touch everything around them just to feel regulated. And when their brain isn't getting the right kind of sensory input, they might be more likely to feel bored, distracted, or anxious, not because they don't want to learn, but because their brain is struggling to stay connected. So, how do we support kids with ADHD and sensory processing needs? Here are a few practical strategies. You can try environmental changes, maybe dim lights, soft textures, and quiet zones. Arrange classrooms to reduce noise and clutter. You could offer sensory supports, maybe noise canceling headphones, fidget tools, sensory stickers, short sensory breaks, like walking in place or jumping jacks. You can kind of change how you teach, instruction, break work into smaller steps, use visual aids, and allow for movement. Give students choices when possible as well. And you could let students decide on their own, maybe a personalized sensory kit. Let them keep a small collection of tools, maybe a stress ball, or like I said, a textured sensory sticker to help them regulate. By noticing sensory needs and adjusting how we teach, we're not just making the kids pay attention, we're actually helping their brains get the information they need to feel connected and calm. So, if you want to learn more, head on over to your therapy source. There's lots of sensory friendly ideas and strategies for therapists, teachers, and parents.